Greetings Exiles, and welcome to the Fortescue Institute for Inspired Learning. I'm Cod Raziel, and joining me as always are Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III and Frank. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the uniques and passives that benefit Dragon-Jooce. So, let's go over the passives first. The first passive cluster that has a decent effect on a Dragon-Jooce build is Purity of Flesh. This grants us up to 20% increased maximum life and 20% to chaos resistance. It's always nice to have chaos resistance on the tree because it helps us gear a lot easier. Next we have Written in Blood. Written in Blood gives us 20% increased maximum life and 25% increased maximum energy shield. We always want to aim for clusters that increase both. Alchemist is another good one since it increases the effect and duration of Dragon-Jooce. The effect by 30%, giving a couple of extra maximum fire resistance, and the duration by 12%, which is going to help us add just about another second to it. Method to the Madness. Now this one is restricted to chaos damage builds, but it can grant a substantial amount of chaos resistance as well as up to 54% increased chaos damage. Next we have Arcane Chemistry. Now this doesn't look too amazing, as all it really gives us that affects Dragon-Jooce is 15% reduced flask charges used. But when coupled with a reduced flask charges used belt, this allows us to get one extra use out of Dragon-Jooce, which can be quite good for consistency. Lastly we have Melding. While not as impressive as Written in Blood, it is right on the path that you would usually take for low life builds. It grants us 15% increased maximum life and 25% increased maximum energy shield, which is quite substantial. Now let's go over the Keystones. First off we have Blood Magic. Blood Magic removes all of our mana and makes us spend life instead of mana for skills. Now, behind Blood Magic we have a bunch of extra life nodes, as well as something that reduces aura reservations by 50%. Now, the advantage of this is we only need to control our life in terms of reservation and whatnot, but the big disadvantage is this will stop energy shield recharge when using skills. So this should only be used if there is no other option. Zealot's Oath causes our regeneration to apply to energy shield instead of life. Now, this is great if you have a large amount of energy shield and a small amount of life and have some other method of healing your life. The disadvantage, however, is that if you use your Dragon-Jooce, there will be no regeneration applied to your life, which can be dangerous if you forget that you used Dragon-Jooce and haven't healed up since. Next we have Ghost Reaver. This is an alternative to Zealot's Oath for builds that can leech. So you could leave your regeneration on your life to keep that topped up, while also using Ghost Reaver to heal your energy shield. Lastly, Pain Attunement. Pain Attunement grants us 30% more spell damage when we're on low life. This will be used in almost any caster build that's going low life, and can even be used in special circumstances on hybrid builds using Dragon-Jooce. So that's it for the passives. So now let's go over some of the Ascendancies. First off, the Necromancer Ascendancy benefits from stacking auras, which is nice for Dragon-Jooce since we're going to reserve some of our life if we're stacking a lot of auras. It gives us a substantial boost to chaos resistance, which is always welcome for Dragon-Jooce builds. And Spirit Offering benefits from both life and energy shield scaling by granting us energy shield based on our maximum life, so we end up getting a pretty large portion of energy shield from this. The Guardian is also a powerful Dragon-Jooce class because it has the strongest aura potential, because it has increased aura effectiveness in its tree. It can gain exceptional amounts of physical mitigation. When you're scaling both life and energy shield, there's very little time to scale physical mitigation as well, so this helps us a lot. And lastly, Radiant Faith benefits from both life and energy shield scaling by giving us armor for the life reserve. Some classes that are pretty good are the Occultist, which gives us strong energy shield healing without Zealot's Oath because of the Wicked Ward node, and Trickster, which boosts the healing potential of Dragon-Jooce. So now that we're done with Ascendancies, let's have a look at the items. First we're going to start with the shields, starting with Esh's Visage. Now this grants us a decent amount of energy shield and life, and it also gives us some chaos resistance as well as some lightning resistance. Now the big important thing about this shield is that chaos damage does not bypass energy shield while not on low life or low mana. So if you're hybrid, consider this Dragon-Jooce training wheels. Next we have the Prism Guardian. Now this is an aura shield. It gives us a large amount of resistance. It causes all gems socketed in it to have blood magic and reduce their mana reservation, which means that this is the best place to put your 60% auras if you're reserving both life and energy shield. On my Dragon-Jooce budget Guardian support build, I was reserving half my life with 3 60% auras. Lastly we have Rathpith Globe. Now this isn't anything special except it does grant us a large amount of energy shield and life and is a pretty good starter shield for a hybrid build. So let's move on to the body armors. Firstly we have the Covenant. I've recently discovered how good the Covenant is for Dragon-Juice builds because it adds both energy shield and life, and it has the affix socketed gems have blood magic, which means that like the Prism Guardian shield, we can place our auras in here and reserve 4 or 5 auras on our life, whereas if we were using the blood magic gem, we would probably only be able to reserve 2. Next we have the Beast Fur Shawl. Now this gives us a lot of energy shield, and it also increases the healing potential of Dragon-Jooce with the affix 30 to 40% increased energy shield recovery rate. This is a good choice if you want the Dragon-Jooce to heal more. Next we have Geofri's Sanctuary. Now the reason this is on here is because it scales maximum energy shield with strength. Now the reason that's important is this chest grants both life and energy shield, and using this in conjunction with the Shaper's Touch gloves means that we can get a huge amount of life and energy shield for strength. I actually have a build that's currently doing this, which I will go over in a couple of days. Lastly we have Victario's Influence. Now this doesn't grant us much life or energy shield or anything, but this does reduce the reservation and add generosity to any auras socketed in it. This is incredibly powerful for support builds, and if you're using a Chevron's Wrappings or a Solaris Lorica, this would not be possible. Now let's go over some Helms that benefit Dragon-Jooce. First off we have the Vertex. While this doesn't add any life, this adds a substantial amount of energy shield, as well as a large amount of chaos resistance. Now in addition to this, it has the affix socketed gems have 50% reduced mana cost. Now the reason this is important is we'll oftentimes be using our chest for auras or something of that nature, so we'll need to put our main skill in our Helms usually. Now the Vertex offers us a reduced mana cost on that, and it adds a level to the socketed gems. This is why this Helm was used in my Dragon-Jooce Pick Your Poison Necromancer, because it just adds too much extra damage to a skill as well as fixing the mana costs so that you don't have to get a bunch of mana. Next we have the Gull. The Gull is an insane leveling item. It can be equipped at around level 38 I believe, and it grants a large amount of energy shield and life, as well as giving you some increased effect of shrines. This item is probably going to be tougher to obtain in 3.0, but I thought I'd put it on the list because this would be an awesome item to have throughout the league. Lastly, Martyr's Crown. While this doesn't give us any resistances or life, this gives us a large amount of energy shield and is equipable early on. As well as that, it gives us Pain Attunement, which means we save at least 1 point on the passive tree. So what about flasks that mix well with Dragon-Jooce? Well, first off we have the Divination Distillate. Now, a lot of you will be familiar with this item. It gives us a rarity and quantity bonus, as well as an increase to all maximum resistances during the flask effect. Now, why this item works so well with Dragon-Jooce is because Dragon-Jooce removes your life, and then the Divination Distillate will start restoring your life. Now, this or any other healing flask can be used in conjunction with Dragon-Jooce to keep Righteous Fire active, which hopefully I'll demonstrate in a later video. Next we have the Sorrow of the Divine. So maybe you don't want to always have Zealot's Oath on. This flask gives us increased damage as well as allowing us to turn on Zealot's Oath for 5 to 6 seconds when we feel it's necessary. Lastly we have Atziri's Promise. Now while this doesn't directly affect Dragon-Jooce, the 35% to chaos resist on the flasks implicit is fantastic, and then the 2% of chaos damage leached as life, as well as the conversion of damage to chaos damage, means that we can actually use the small amount of leech to heal our life in certain builds, meaning we can spec Zealot's Oath and still be able to heal our life, as is demonstrated in my previous video, which was the Pick Your Poison Necromancer. So let's have a look at some other uniques. First off, Presence of Chayula. This is pretty much going to be best in slot for a lot of Dragon-Juiced builds because it converts 20% of our maximum life to energy shield. This functions similar to damage conversion, so that 20% of our life will be scaled by both our increased life modifiers and our increased energy shield modifiers. This also grants us 60% increased chaos resistance, which is just insane. But this amulet is of course very expensive and is likely to get more expensive. Next is Ming's Heart. Ming's Heart, while it reduces both our energy shield and life, it does give us a massive amount of chaos resistance, up to 63%. As well as that, for any physical build this will add a considerable amount of damage. Now, Inspired Learning and Headhunter. These items grant you the mods of rares when you kill them. Now, what does this have to do with Dragon-Jooce? Well, since Dragon-Jooce is scaling both life and energy shield bonuses that are stolen from rares will be exceptionally effective, since a lot of them are scaled from your life total. So, if you can fit these into your build, they would be an awesome addition. So did I miss any cool interactions between other uniques and passives and Dragon-Jooce? If so, let me know in the comments, and if you have anything to add to the Dragon-Jooce experience, do let me know. From myself, Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III, and Frank, we say good luck and stay juicy. Dragon-Juicy.
I'm Sir Reginald Amadeus Fortescue III, and I approve this message.